It's amazing how Chicago can slowly be shifting towards a physical civil war. While the corporate media simply ignores the violence, they're secretly trying to convince their viewers to commit more. As just outside of Chicago, these anti-ICE activists are actually attacking federal agents, seemingly unafraid of committing felonies, damaging DHS vehicles in broad daylight. While the mainstream media claims this is ICE's fault.
ICE is the one who's been instigating all the problems against our village and against our residents. They did not respect our local laws. They did not respect life safety issues, and they are causing problems and committing crimes.
It's insane to think CNN sees these attacks, and instead of reporting the facts, they almost encourage their viewers to go out and commit more crimes because, simply put, they don't represent this country. As the attacks get worse, with 2 illegals ramming into an ICE vehicle.
Both of them, I should say, are Venezuelan and in the U.S. illegally. One of them had an order for removal from 2024. A crowd formed up and Chicago police say they started throwing rocks.
But pay close attention to the chyron on Disney's ABC, framing this as federal agents involved in crash, where the other story opens up with a tear gas, vaguely framing this as protesters and federal agents clash, and a chase ends in a crash.
Surveillance video shows they had been chasing the red vehicle in circles around the neighborhood for around 30 minutes before the accident happened. Uber driver Eliseo Uribe was driving home when he tells us in Spanish, "The white SUV nearly hit me. I thought they were fighting." A Homeland Security statement today saying they were chasing the driver of the red SUV after he rammed them first.
They know exactly what happened, as they openly admit the same things reported on Fox News, but instead of telling the truth, they want to tell you this carefully curated narrative, conveniently suppressing exactly who attacked first and how these are exactly the type of people we wanted out of the country, as they want to paint this picture, feigning innocence for the protesters.
They're being baited into interactions that can justify action.
Look, let's remember that protesting peacefully is a right that we all have as American citizens, Audie, and one of the things that we cannot lose sight of here is the egregious violations of civil rights that ICE is involved in every single day.
Where there are admittedly some peaceful protesters, proving to the world what happens when you give the EBT tribes way too much free time, where they march in the streets waving seemingly every single possible liberal movement mixed in one march, including the foreign flag of the country they demand they not be sent to. The same country implementing deportation efforts objectively more aggressive than America's. As I had to censor that here, but that was a toddler, still inside a stroller, being tossed into a truck because, like every single country, everywhere, Mexico enforces their border laws. But don't let that stop leftist idiots from waving that flag at an immigration protest in America. But this peacefulness isn't permanent, as Nick Shirley shows us them, again, attacking federal vehicles.
Look, all the protesters showed up. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Jeez.
Where social media users actually record themselves tracking ICE down, as China's TikTok makes a trend out of Chicago's rammers attacking America's homeland security, as sometimes they actually assist in people evading arrest. But TikTok isn't the only app, as ultra-left Amazon's Ring app is also utilized to track ICE, where social media users even teach each other how to use this information to stifle ICE's operation.
If you post on Stop ICE, you can either post confirmed or just suspected sightings of ICE, and this will push out to all of their subscribers. What you need to film the faces of the individuals being detained and the individuals doing the detaining. So whether they present themselves as ICE officers, they might lie and say they're local PD. People who you know are sympathetic to the cause, people who you know are vulnerable to the cause. You need to connect those two groups. Sorry, I'm getting emotional. I just witnessed another.
I just want to make a quick note of how she's recording this from the inside of Tesla's top-tier premium vehicle, as even at the cheapest trim, the white interior 6-seater costs over $110,000, so this anti-ICE activism has spread beyond the EBT tribes squirming around the dirt to defeat ICE. We now have the wealthiest well-to-do liberals joining in, even while wearing their work shirt.
Get tennis rackets on the front line. So when this is for with tear gas, if a tear gas can is sent to you, you take that tennis racket and you hit that bubby, you hit that thing as far as you can, straight back at who's ever shooting them at you.
And while they're doing this for free, they're literally aligning themselves with the cartels who have reportedly placed bounties up to $50,000 to get immigration agents. And let's just zoom out for a quick second. Illegals ram their vehicles into federal agents. The mainstream media says this was just a crash, but make sure you get out there and protest. Local well-to-do liberals join in on impeding law enforcement, assisting in the Mexican cartel's efforts. It's almost like they're purposely siding with evil, just hoping their audience is too stupid to put the pieces together. As that original crash ended in tear gas, to which the left cried, "ICE doesn't care about safety, there was a baby there," as Asmongold replies, "Why bring a baby?" And I think the answer is obvious, but terrible. They want to use them as a shield. Where they never want to argue laws or logic, it's all about who has the saddest imagery, because their base doesn't operate on reasoning, but whatever makes them the most emotional. As Chicago's mayor says, protecting illegals is defending humanity.
And in order for our country to be a place of promise and hope and opportunity for people around the globe who have called the city of Chicago their home, it's why we're so committed to ensuring that we're protecting our democracy and defending humanity.
Which is in stark contrast to when Biden was in office and he demanded they stop shipping him more immigrants.
An elected official in the state of Texas that is placing families on buses without shoes, cold, wet, tired, hungry, afraid, traumatized, and then they come to the city of Chicago where we have homelessness, we have mental health clinics that have been shut down and closed, you have people who are seeking employment.
But somehow now, protecting those same immigrants is resistance.
And that's why I'm doing everything in my power to defend the people of this city and to lead a resistance that, quite frankly, is desperately needed to protect our democracy and our humanity.
Where he, alongside his governor, sound like they're asking for civil war.
You just heard the governor express it as well. This battle is going to take place in the courts and in our communities. The 700 people who showed up on the north side of Chicago to organize, to build the resistance, that's a clear example of how the organizing on the ground plays an incredible role in defending people.
With the Illinois governor openly admitting if they regain power, they're going to prosecute ICE agents.
You know, the tables will turn someday. These people should recognize that maybe they're not going to get prosecuted today, although we're looking at doing that, but they may get prosecuted after the Trump administration for the things that they did because the statute of limitations won't have run.
As Western Lensman finds, he's not the only Democrat doing this.
And the reality is, the statute of limitations is 5 years, and there will be accountability with the next administration, if not before, when Democrats take back control of the House of Representatives.
We will subpoena the Department of Justice, but also private actors.
Crazy how they seamlessly go from prosecute President Trump before Americans can vote for him to how dare Trump criminally investigate a Democrat, and finally, when we get back in office, we're going to do the same exact thing, but to everybody. It really makes you wonder why they find it so important to win these next elections, and why Illinois specifically doesn't want us to see who's voting in their elections.
They demanded, the DOJ did, our voter data. Not just ours, in Illinois. Every state's voter data. Why? They won't tell us why. And actually, what they seem to be looking for, remember back to the 2020 elections, is they want to be able to find voter fraud, which lots of organizations have been looking for voter fraud, as you know, for a long time. There's very little voter fraud going on, very little.
Is it possibly tied to the idea that he mysteriously had a $10 million income with $1.4 million in gambling winnings that he's suddenly saying is from blackjack at a Vegas casino? Where Republican politicians will likely want to look into verifying how an Illinois governor had the time and luck to go to Vegas winning $1.4 million on blackjack. Or is there something more suspect to be discovered? As Democrat desperation is getting pathetically dire, doing podcast episodes with California's governor.
Middle of the night, Black Hawk helicopters, ICE agents rappelling out of this military helicopter, but the 130 people had their doors broken down, their windows broken. They took innocent people out and zip-tied their hands. Children, I might add. And a number of these people were U.S. citizens and others were legal.
To which country music singers echo that same story.
We got the Department of Homeland Security out here sharing hype videos of ICE agents flying in on American cities, banging in doors, jacking people out of their houses, zip-tying them in the streets naked, and then carting them off in the back of U-Hauls with no warrants or due process like it's a fucking trailer to the newest Call of Duty game. And the worst part is, I gotta watch some of y'all cheer it on like you're watching a fucking football game.
And even Joe Rogan is saying similar.
When you're just arresting people in front of their kids and just normal, regular people that have been here for 20 years, that everybody who has a heart can't get along with that.
Now this is a sad story of US citizens and kids being zip-tied at night by scary masked men rappelling from Black Hawk helicopters, except there was plenty of video footage of these arrests mysteriously not seeing any of these zip-tied families. And if there was, you know the liberal media would print that picture on every front page opposite of Trump's face, instead of just ignoring how the raid arrested 37 gang members from the same Venezuelan gang known in Chicago for kidnapping, murders, and shooting parties, known for trafficking immigrant women, forcing them into horrendous acts, bringing in substances and weapons. But the party that is allegedly about protecting immigrants, screaming about shootings and getting weapons off the street. If the DHS arrests 37 members of a gang notoriously known for doing all of that, it doesn't seem to matter because Trump did it. But why focus on how the president made Chicago a little bit safer when we have a scary story to share? We can't show you any of these images, but why provide evidence when emotions is what really drives the left? So if you appreciate my concise, lighthearted commentary on the tragic status that is today's reality, subscribe to Decoy Voice or check out the side channel Decaf Decoy for our live streams.